Good afternoon. My name is Scott Cooper. Now today I'm going to be teaching you about the social interaction theory, which was come up by Lev Vygotsky. What I want you to do, if you could do this for me, I want you to think to yourself, I want you to think about how you learn, and I want you to do this by thinking of an event, something very important in your life that you learned how to do. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be something academic that you learned. We don't have to be quite that boring if you deem it so. But anything during your life that you learned, think about that for a little bit. Give it some thought. If you got that thought in there, good. I want everybody, please turn to your shoulder partner, discuss the ideas, share with them if you can. Talk to them a little bit, have them talk to you. Just discuss, just kind of share those ideas with each other. Good, good, good. Now I'm going to call on some of you and we're going to see what you discussed, and you can use, of course, your own example or you can use your shoulder partner's example. Yes, you over there. What's something that you learned in your life? Tying your shoes. Okay, very good. Now what happened? Did you just grab those shoes and did you say, hey, gosh, you know what? Whoop, whoop, whoop. That makes sense. These shoes are tied. No? How'd you learn how to tie your shoes? Oh, your dad taught you. Yes, and okay, so he showed you how, and then eventually you tied your shoes yourself. Good. What about you over there? Riding a bicycle. Very good. Now, you didn't just read a book and say, hey, I can ride a bike now. What happened? You had an older brother that taught you. Very good, very good. And then, of course, you learned how to ride that bicycle on your own. Now, this is what social interaction theory is going to tell us. And it's basically a form of cognitive development for the social interactive theory. Now, what's cognitive development? Think to yourself, write that down on your piece of paper. You back there, you should come to class prepared, have some paper. Nonetheless, write down what you deem your definition of cognitive development. Good, very good. Now, I'm going to give you the definition that I got off of healthofchildren.com. This is the word-for-word definition that they had. It said that cognitive development is the construction of thought process, which includes remembering, problem-solving, and decision-making from childhood to adolescence to adulthood. Whoa! That's kind of wordy now, isn't it? Well, let's see. Let's kind of pick that apart. What does that mean? What does that mean to you? Write that down, please. I would say it is, how do we learn? That's it. Quite simply enough. How do we learn? So cognitive development is trying to rationalize or trying to decide how we as human beings learn, because of course if you can understand how we learn, then you can by process understand how to teach. So let me tell you about social interaction theory. That's what we're here for, right? So here we go. Social interaction theory is saying that we learn things two times, so to speak. We learn by social interaction is the first way that we build knowledge. Social learning, interacting with people, things like that. And then the second way we learn it is on our own. So think about that for a second. Think about that for a second. Because I know typically sometimes educators will get into the habit of having students simply acquire knowledge as opposed to learning it. If you think about a young child, some of you might have some children of your own. I myself have a niece who's very cool. But she's 2 years old. She's almost 3. And you know what she does? She asks a lot of questions. Why is the sky blue? Why does it get dark at night? Why does Santa Claus only come in December? Things like that. And so you think about the way that children acquire knowledge in that respect. They are interacting with an adult, or they can even interact with a peer, or just basically anybody that has more knowledge about something than themselves that they can interact with. Can actually, believe it or not, be a computer program as well, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Let me tell you a little bit about constructivism, because essentially, yes, we talked about cognitive development, but social interaction is a form of constructivism as well. And what constructivism states is that learning is an active process where people will create new knowledge based on their personal experience and combine that with the prior knowledge that they already have. So this shows, again, that knowledge is truly learned instead of simply acquired. So who do we interact with? Well, you think about when you go to school. As a student, you interact with your teachers. You interact with your peers. You interact with your parents. So social interaction theory, we have four, that was a 5, but we have 4 key concepts for social interaction theory. And so let me explain a little bit about them to you. Now, our first key concept, it says that social interaction plays a central role in cognitive development. And this is curiosity, this is interaction, would be like we discussed with family, friends, teachers, etc. But it's that curiosity concept, it's that interaction with other people. That's our first key concept. Now, the second key concept is social learning precedes development. So there's 2 things to keep in mind here. You've got social level on that concept, which is basically you're interacting with others, you're connecting or reaching out or something like that. And then you've got the individual level, which is after that social learning, your knowledge is acquired. Let me give you an example right here. Let's say we've got little Johnny and, well, he wants to know guitar. He's got himself a brand new guitar. He really wants to know how to play that. His friend Bob, little Bob, well, he's got a guitar and he knows how to play guitar. So little Johnny and little Bob, they're playing guitar together. Little Johnny's picking up some techniques, watching Bob, talking to Bob, things like that. And he goes home on his own after that, little Johnny does, and all of a sudden he's picked up some of these techniques that little Bob taught him. And he's a better guitar player because of it, because of that interaction, which leads, of course, to that individual learning or that individual acquirement of the knowledge. That brings us to our third concept, or third key concept, and this one I think is really one of the biggest ones because this has to do with communication and language and speech and so forth. Basically, key concept 3, language accelerates cognitive development. So you've got 3 stages in that third concept. I know, just hold up here. Write it down if you have to. We'll get you there. Don't worry about that. Stage 1, you want to think about when you're a baby, when you're an infant. Please, in this stage, don't confuse language with speech because, of course, a baby is making speech. A baby's not necessarily constructing language quite yet. But this is our stage 1, and this is more of an external method of speech. And what we mean by that is, in that first stage, it's me saying what you can do for me. So you think back to that baby, and a baby's hungry, or a baby has to go to sleep, or a baby needs a diaper change. What does that baby do? Think about it. Yeah, you're right, that baby cries, doesn't it? Now, the baby's not saying, I need to go to sleep. I need to eat some food. The baby's saying it, because the baby, of course, is in that stage 1 of language. You need to get me some food. You need to change my diaper. You need to put me to bed. Right? So that's that stage 1, is when you say what you are going to do for me. But then, of course, as language starts developing, you get to that stage 2, which is what my niece is in. And that stage, of course, is more of an egocentric language, and that's saying, this is what I want to do. It's basic speech, and it's saying, I want to do this. I want to color. I want to watch TV. I want to ride my bicycle. I want to eat food. Something like that. That's that second stage of how language accelerates cognitive development. And then, of course, we've got our third stage there, and the third stage is now your language is developed and you're able to think about it internally, or your thoughts, in other words. You're able to work out problems in your head. You're able to think of stuff. You're able to kind of internalize that language and learn that way. Finally, of course, that was key concept 3. Now we get to key concept 4, and let me tell you what, this is really the meat and potatoes of social interaction theory. 4 is that self-initiated discovery and collaboration dialogue that aids cognitive development. And, well, whoa, that's a lot, isn't it? Well, wait till I tell you this. MKO and ZPD. Those are the 2 things that you really have to remember there. Now, what does that mean? Well, I'll tell you what it means. Your MKO is known as more knowledgeable other. And again, that's going to go back to where we said whether it be a teacher, whether it be a peer, a friend, a parent, something like that. That's when you're in that social interactive phase of you're learning that information from somebody. It's called an MKO, a more knowledgeable other. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody older than you. Think about that. It doesn't have to be an older friend or something like that. I'm going to give you an example. Okay, let's say my dad teaches me how to do my taxes, okay? So he's the more knowledgeable other. He's the one that's using the social interaction to teach me how to do my taxes. So, and we're talking old school method here, all you youngins there, right? We're talking that old school method of just getting the paper, writing it down, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so now I know how to do my taxes. Perfect. Perfect. Well, guess what? Little wise in the future, now we have computer websites and programs that will help you do that for you. So I go over to my dad's house, and it's tax season again. Hooray! And I go over to his place, and I say, hey, guess what? There's this website that's really going to help you do your taxes. So I'm teaching my dad how to use this website, how to set up an account, and how to log on there. Now I am the more knowledgeable other in this situation. So I'm teaching him how to do his taxes on the computer. Now once he gets set up, and this is where we get another version of the more knowledgeable other. Once he's set up with doing that, okay, you're off to a good start. I'm going to take off. You're going to handle the rest on your own. Well, is he really going to handle the rest on his own? No, because of course this is a nice computer site that we go to help us with our taxes, and there's now a tutorial on there. So now my dad is interacting with that tutorial on the website. All of a sudden the computer is the more knowledgeable other. Whoa, iRobot, scary stuff, right? But it's true. That tutorial, that computer program is going to be that more knowledgeable other. If you have set up a cable box and it's guiding you through the steps, if you install a computer and it's telling you what you need to do. So you've got MKO, but you might remember we had ZPD as well. And what does ZPD mean? Well, ZPD is your zone of proximal development. Your zone of proximal development. Now, what does that mean? Well, quite simply, and some of you teachers that have used the KWL method might be somewhat familiar with this, but your zone of proximal development is you've got an outside zone, which is the knowledge you want to acquire, and you've got an inside zone, which is somebody teaching that to you, and then you've got an even smaller inside zone, which is the knowledge that you already have. 3 different zones. So think about that. I know, let it set in a little bit. The 3 zones, the zone of proximal development, and you might be asking yourself, gee whiz, Scott, gosh, is there any way you could just kind of show me a diagram of that using foreign currency? Aha! You were in luck. As a matter of fact, I can do that. Come on over here and I will show you exactly what I'm talking about. So let's look at the zone of proximal development. Let's say this large coin, that is the knowledge that you hope to acquire. This is what you already have, the knowledge you already have on the subject. And then, of course, here, this is the help of your more knowledgeable other, which also results in your zone of proximal development. So you've got what you want to know. There's your social interaction, your more knowledgeable other. And then there's the knowledge that you know beforehand. You could see how that kind of tiers itself right there with what you already know, the interaction from a more knowledgeable other, and then, of course, that results in your zone of proximal development, the knowledge that you have required as a result. So, just to review, Lev Vygotsky, he said the social interaction theory, we learn from interacting with people, with peers, with a more knowledgeable other, and then of course we transfer that into the knowledge that we individually hold and that we can use on our own. Remember, he had those 4 key concepts. He had that social interaction, of course, plays that central role in cognitive development. He said the second one, that social learning precedes development. He said that language accelerates cognitive development, and that also the self-initiated discovery and collaboration, which is where we get into the more knowledgeable other and the zone of proximal development. I want to thank you for watching this. I used the websites healthofchildren.com, thank you for that, learningtheories.com, cleverism.com, and goodtherapy.org. I would also like to thank my dad for being the cameraman. Awesome. Good. All right. Enjoy. Good luck with the rest of the year. See ya.